Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, November the 8th. We're joined today with our Secretary of Transportation, Jimmy Riston, and he's going to give us some updates, but I want to go through several things and everything before we get to Jimmy. But one is just this, last night, on the turnpike, you could clearly see a forest fire that stretched a pretty dadgum long ways. I could remember like it was yesterday, but years ago, probably now decades ago, that was so common. And if you were to take a drive on the turnpike or you were wherever you were, in West Virginia this time of year, there was a constant threat that there were so many fires that hunting season would be called off. So you've got to be careful. That's all there is to it. The woods is really dry right now, and it's so simple just to be burning trash or whatever in your backyard, and all of a sudden, a spark, gets loose, and it goes into a back wood lot or whatever like that, and boom, now we've got a full-blown forest fire. I want to tell you just this too. It's not any fun fighting a forest fire. I've done it, and I've done it a long time ago. But I am telling you, when they hand you a little teeny rake that's about that wide and everything, and you're on the line fighting a forest fire back in Hoo-Hoo Hollow or wherever it may be, and standing on your nose because it's so steep that it's unbelievable, and you're trying to rake a line to be able to stop the fire from going any further. It's really tough work, and it's dangerous work. And with all that being said, the least we can do is try with all in us to see that doesn't happen, and we're not putting our people through that. Right now in the state of West Virginia, there are 75 new fires since last Friday. There's been 15,850 acres burned so far. Now, if you don't have any idea what 15,800 acres is, it is enormous. That's all there is to it. And so all across this state, we have a season right now that is perpetuated by dryness that is very, very unusual. It has been incredibly dry the last 30 days. So with all that being said, please, please, please be careful. The fall fire season is in effect until December the 31st, and it's essential to all West Virginians to be aware of and to follow the necessary regulations to prevent wildfires, because it can get really bad, really bad. I remember like it was yesterday when absolutely you couldn't hardly see because of the smoke. Now, in many, many, many places in West Virginia. So we got to do our best. That's all there is to it. Last night we were honored by a beautiful tree that came from the Monongahela National Forest in West Virginia. We were blessed by, marching bands from Cabell Midland, Capitol, George Washington, Nitro, Polka, and St. Albans, and Herbert Hoover as well. So, a lot of people had a lot of fun last night and everything as we said, goodbye to this incredible tree and everything that's on its way to D.C., and it is our national tree. It is the people's tree. It is from West Virginia. It's the first time in almost 50 years that a tree has come from West Virginia that is our people's tree. And, so we were really, really blessed to have all that happen, and we had a really good time last night. And so West Virginia is showing off again, and I love it. I love it to death. There's more grants that from our IJDC grants, and I'm excited to announce these. These are infrastructure jobs and development grants and everything. There's $2.8 million that we've been able to secure, and these are going for sewer and water projects all across our state. Really, at the end of the day, we have so many of these, but we've done an awful lot. I commend Ann Erling for incredible work and incredible job that she's doing. Basically, what she's doing is taking a little bit of money that's been allocated from the legislature and then turns it into a lot of money and everything by matching it up with matching dollars from the federal government and stuff like this. But Ann's done a great job. We're really, really proud of her, and we're really thankful to have her as a Deputy Chief of Staff. So, Ann, just keep doing the great work, and you can't imagine, you just cannot imagine the water and sewer projects that have been done in this state in the last year or so, and we're going to just keep on doing them. So it's really, really, really great. Okay, Veterans Day is right around the corner. Now, please listen to me just 1 second. I've said this over and over and over. And you see what's going on all across this world right now. You know, the situation with what happened in Israel is, it is just, none of us could possibly understand or comprehend what just happened in Israel. And from that standpoint, now there's a lot of people concerned for the Middle East and a lot of different areas of the world. We have a real situation in Ukraine, and then Russia's involved. We have real situations all the time now, it seems like, with China. Now the Middle East. Why is all this happening now? Why is it all happening on the Biden watch? And the reason it's happening is weakness. No leadership. Absolutely America without a leader. Now that's where we are. That's my opinion anyway. Now with all that being said, Veterans Day is right around the corner. Do we not know, everything we have, every single thing we have, to our veterans, to the active military, to those we've lost, absolutely, to the Gold Star families, to those that have given the ultimate sacrifice. Do we not owe every single thing we have to these people? And we do. We truly do. Where would we be today? Where would we be today if we didn't have much of a military? Where would we be? I mean, for crying out loud, people, whether they be the bad actors of Russia and China, would run over top of us. Iran, run over top of us. But we've got strength in our military, and we've got real conviction. These people, I say it over and over and over and over, they ask so little, so little, and they've given every one of you, and me too, so much. So please remember Veterans Day. If you're out on that day or you can do anything, pay for a meal, absolutely give a pat on the back, absolutely stand up for our veterans, our active military, and surely to God above, all those that have given the ultimate sacrifice in our Gold Star families. Please, please, please remember them. These people absolutely are the greatest at what they do, the greatest, the toughest. They are the best. Please always remember them. And God bless each and every one of them, from me and everyone across this great state. Okay, November is National Adoption Month, and it's we're going to surely have that in West Virginia. We're celebrating, over and over and over for the entire month, the formation of families, and we're really, really proud of that. We have nearly 1,200 foster kids who are at this time looking for a home, and so please consider. And it's it's amazing when you think about the families that have adopted kids and everything, and you know, I'm a coach. I've been a coach forever, and you run into those kids from time to time. It is just a bond and a greatness that really touches your heart. So please consider. Okay, well, you know, we keep switching channels here, but tonight both Marshall and WVU are hosting Sunbelt Conference semifinal matches, and Marshall's going to play Kentucky, and WVU is going to play South Carolina, and we surely wish them the greatest and the best and everything, and all their fans as well. So good stuff. Two great schools and everything. We're so blessed, so blessed in this state to have Marshall and WVU. Okay, Jimmy, you're up now. Jimmy's going to talk to us about the summer paving season that we've just gone through and other updates. But Jimmy, it's all up to you now.
Thank you, Governor. Any conversation that we talk about transportation, infrastructure, and paving, it begins and ends with your big, bold vision of the Roads to Prosperity program. That's a vision that you took all across the state and shared with the folks, and they approved it with 70% of the voters approving this program and this approach. It brought in nearly $3 billion in revenue to tackle major projects all over the state. The Roads to Prosperity has had a huge impact on the revitalization of the Department of Transportation, and we've taken that seriously. We followed your lead and with the leadership and the way we've structured things and worked this program. Approximately 1,200 of the 1,263 Roads to Prosperity projects undertaken under this project are complete now, totally complete. The next 60 or so, depending on how well we can stretch some of those dollars, may over the next year you'll see those moving along toward completion as well. The Roads to Prosperity program absolutely saved the Department of Transportation. It saved the state. It laid the foundation for all the growth that we've seen in every sector across the state. This was part of the vision you had, not just to get the roads fixed, which we desperately needed. 10 years ago, it was really easy to find a bad road because they were all bad. They're not all bad today. In District 4 alone, and that's an area that really needed considerable work. District 4, it includes Doddridge, Harrison, Monongalia, Preston, and Taylor counties. We paved nearly 115 miles of mostly rural roads in that district, done mostly by our own in-house pavers. Another downstream positive effect of the Roads to Prosperity program is we were able to purchase 4 drills and put our own crews operating those drills and really put a focus on taking care of slips and slides all across the state, At one time, I reported to the legislature that there were 2,300 known slips and slides in the state. Today, that number is under 1,000. We have completed 1,500 slip and slide projects in the last few years, just the last few years. We have moved the culture in the Department of Transportation. We've moved the culture based on your secondary road initiative vision once more that you shared with us, Governor. We moved to go back to our roots internally. We allowed our employees to recover their pride and their West Virginia spirit to tackle these tough things that we've been trying to do. Today, and you announced it just last week, that pride shines forth. We were able to capture first place at the operations and safety training for our equipment operators and competed with 11 other states and took first prize. That's West Virginia pride at work right there. And they take that out there on the roads each and every day. There's more than 7,000 bridges in the state, including nearly 200 that are not owned by the state. One of our big tasks, probably one of our most serious tasks, is to inspect those bridges, assess their conditions, and to do load ratings for those bridges and ensure that they're safe. We do that. Just this past year alone, we inspected more than 4,000 of the more than 7,000 bridges in the state. We have moved to a data-driven decision-making organization. It's really very simple. The data drives our decisions. The data drives the priorities. It's needs-based. We have implemented a bridge management system that's the envy of the country. It's literally the envy of the country. It's a comprehensive program that does just that. Today, we have a 10-year bridge program for rehabilitation, rehab, and replacements. We treat our pavements the same way. We have a 10-year interstate paving program. We have a 10-year U.S. route paving program. We have a 10-year West Virginia route program. And don't forget, we're still working hard on those secondary roads that are a lot more important to a lot more people. And we really focused on those, and we're doing well with those. All the equipment that we were able to purchase, thanks to the surpluses that the success of West Virginia under your leadership has given us, has allowed us to do more and more and more work. I stood before the legislature just this past January and heard the audit report that told the people that we had completed double the amount of maintenance operation works in 2019, in 2020, and 2022. This year is no different. We're going to do the same thing. Double those works. We're having another record paving year, another record construction year, another record project development year. Today we have over $4 billion of active contract construction projects going on all across the state of West Virginia. $4 billion of active contract construction. We also have nearly $1 billion of contract consulting engineering happening right now to come right behind it with more projects as soon as they're developed. The culture change that I mentioned was not easy. It wasn't took leadership. And that's what we've got with you, Governor. Thank you. You instilled the leadership. You gave us the model to work from. You've moved us to where we're not just thinking about the X's and O's and not just thinking about the formulas and the calculations. And as an engineer, those things they're important to me. But we really have to think about the business side. So when you work for a businessman, you start adopting those business principles, and that's what we're doing. The back office processes that we worked on are much more efficient. We've got better policies. We've got better folks involved. We're more transparent. We're more accountable than we've ever been in the history. We've also showed efficiency in many, many areas. Your idea for combining some of those smaller agencies into a multimodal agency created grand efficiencies there. In the Department of Transportation, we have a one DOT philosophy, and that's exactly what that means. And that's modeled from your cabinet, the team you put around you, Governor, that actually works together. It's really easy for the West Virginia Division of Highways to work with tourism or the DNR or the DEP. These things happen on a daily basis. Someone has a need. They make a phone call and something happens, and that's exactly what happens within the Department of Transportation with these other agencies. So, Governor, the Roads to Prosperity started it. The Roads to Prosperity is what's turned it around. It's saved our state. Thank you.
You know, I'm just almost awestruck. You know, really, when it really boils right down to it. And Jimmy, you have done an amazing job. That's all there is to it. I hope to goodness that this audience and the media and many, 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 you know, would take heed to exactly what's happened in the Department of Transportation. I mean, not tooting my horn or not tooting Jimmy Riston's horn, but really and truly, we walked into a situation just a few years back when we absolutely were just as upside down as we could possibly be. Think about it. Think about it. There were people all over the place that couldn't hardly get to the convenience store, and I say it this way, I've said it many times this way, because of the potholes or the damage to the road or the unsafe situations. They couldn't even get to the convenience store without tearing their cars up. Think about how this has changed. Think about what's done here. Think about what this man has just said over and over and over of all the different things. Think about all the damage to the, that were to the guardrails or the slips or absolutely all the tens and tens of thousands of miles of paving and ditching and everything has happened. Think of the transparency that he spoke about. That how the agencies, and think about how we have adopted an approach to where the agencies work together. They don't absolutely just sit back in their little corner and do their thing while there's disasters happening to the other agencies. Just think about what has happened in this state. Honestly, it is amazing beyond belief. Sure, you stub your toe here and there and everything in doing the very best you can do, but if you're fair and you evaluate the progress that's made in the Department of Transportation in this state, Jimmy Riston, I am telling you, you have absolutely done a whale of a job. And not only you, but all those that are working with you, all those that are pulling the rope with you, we absolutely thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It is flat believable what has happened as far as the taking the care of our roads and upgrading our stuff, and it drives economic growth to this state like crazy. There's two things, there's more than two things, but the first two things. Always, people that are wanting to come to this state ask, how the schools? Well, we've got a ways to go there. But with all that being said, literally, all you've got to do is go to a school. Just go to any school. Go to a school and just see how the kids love their teachers. And how their teachers, absolutely without any question, love their kids. But just see how impactful that school is in the community. Sure, it's not perfect, but for crying out loud, there's a lot of good going on in our schools. And absolutely, for people that are coming here and everything, when they see that, they gravitate to that because they want that in schools. They want people that really care. Absolutely, and our teachers, service personnel, administrators, and all do. They do just exactly that. The next thing that people look at about moving to this great state or whatever is the roads. The roads are, a fundamental function of life today. Schools, now your roads. Well, for God's sakes a-living, what is going on with our roads is unbelievable. Imagine, Jimmy Riston just said, and I think I got this right, $4 billion of active, construction and or contract construction going on today in West Virginia. Today, active. It's unbelievable. It's flat unbelievable. Now, absolutely, we can have a Clark Griswold moment, to where Clark worked like crazy out there putting up all those lights, didn't he? And then his dad walked out there when he finally got them all put up and said something like, Clark at third row's not twinkling. Then Clark put his arm around his dad and says, thanks, Dad. Thanks for noticing that. Well, absolutely. I'm telling you, there's going to be third rows not twinkling. But really and truly, the work that has been done doesn't look like Clark's house. The work that these people are doing, and congratulations to the team as far as our operators and their expertise, but the work they do is terrific. Compared to where we have been, compared to decades ago, when literally There was issues in the highway department like nobody's business. But the issue primarily centered around, we didn't get it done, did we? Like it or not like it, but we didn't get it done. Well, that's changed now. You know, in past administrations, they went and they did. They sold all kinds of the maintenance equipment and everything just because we didn't have any money. Literally, at the end of the day, we were strapped in a tough spot. Today, we can find a road that's not twinkling. But I'll promise you, the Department of Highways and the Department of Transportation doesn't look like Clark Griswold's house. They're sitting there with new equipment. They perform. They've got great operators, and they're getting it done. Not only are they getting it done, it is just amazing what they have achieved. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of you. And let's keep it going because it is a huge economic driver to this state. It is a huge driver to the state of West Virginia. So again, I can't thank you enough. Here's another good thing, and let me check the time here just one second. Well, I'll tell you what. How about y'all just hang with me just a second here, okay? Because it's 10:59, and this was supposed to be embargoed, this announcement, until 11 o'clock. So at 11 o'clock today, there's a big announcement that's getting ready to happen. And I'm just going to watch here. Just hang with me just a second. You know, after this, Dr. Marsh is going to give us a COVID update. And then that's all we've got. So just hang with me just one second because I'm going to be totally respectful, you know, of the fact that it's bingo. It's 11 o'clock. Okay. I'm thrilled to announce today that Breeze Airways has added a new route from Charleston, West Virginia to Myrtle Beach. This new flight will begin on May the 10th, and the cost of this will start around $49, you know, for one-way travel. And so, you know, we're just tickled to death, you know, because I know a lot of folks love to go to Myrtle Beach, and this was just all put together and just put together in the last little while. But Myrtle Beach, you know, some way was difficult, you know, to not that they were difficult, but it was some way, you know, difficult to put it all together, put that transportation directly to Myrtle Beach, and so we've got it, and for all the West Virginians that love to go to Myrtle Beach and everything, now we got set up, you know, that you'll be going to Myrtle Beach really and truly for $49 in many situations, and so now all of you, you know, can go from Charleston to Myrtle Beach and a whole lot faster than driving 7 hours and going that way. Dr. Marsh, come on and tell us about COVID, but thank you, Breeze Airways, and thanks to all the people in Myrtle Beach and everything that you know made this happen. So thank you so much.
Hi, this is Clay Marsh, and it is always wonderful to be with the governor and the team for the press briefs. And I wanted to focus my comments on looking forward for the holiday that is coming up, Thanksgiving. And just to make sure that I'm clear that I'm doing this recording on November 7th. And as we look forward to Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks, it really is the perfect time to get the updated COVID shot if you have not gotten it. And this is really particularly important for all of our West Virginians who are older or who have an illness that causes their immune system not to work normally, people 65 and older, or people at any age with an abnormal immune system should consider getting the updated COVID shot immediately, because it is about 2 weeks before people will be gathering for the Thanksgiving holiday. And that is a particularly important opportunity that we can protect people together, and the weather gets a bit colder. It is more common that we see respiratory viruses like COVID-19. spread. And we know that most all of the deaths are now in older Americans and hospitalizations and severe illness as well. And we know that getting an updated COVID shot does help reduce the risk of having any of those more severe consequences by 80 to 90%. And if you're not sure about your eligibility, please consider going to our website, which is vaccinate.wv.gov, or our COVID vaccine information line at 833-734-0965. And you can type your information into the updated calculator, or you can call the vaccine information line to see if you're eligible to get the updated COVID shot. In addition, people who do develop respiratory illness because COVID-19 and other respiratory viruses are starting to circulate should go ahead and test themselves for COVID-19. And if they test positive, should consider talking to their primary care doctor, particularly if they test positive and are older or have immune problems, to see if they would benefit from the antiviral medication Paxlovid, which not only helps reduce the virus amount in people's bodies, but also just like the updated shot, does, reduces the risk of long COVID, the longer term consequences of COVID-19 by about 50%. And as you're considering getting the updated COVID shot, please also consider getting a shot for the respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, which is shown to be more problematic as far as severity of illness for people who are over 60 years old. And the new RSV vaccine is now available for all Americans over 60 years old. And also a flu shot, which is now available and indicated for all Americans and all West Virginians over 6 months old. And all of these shots need a little bit of time, about 2 weeks or so, to reach their best strength. And so this is a good opportunity to look at getting the updated COVID shot, the RSV shot, and also the flu shot. We know that getting the COVID shot and the flu shot at the same time is fine, and we had a lot of experience with that last year. Because the RSV shot is new, we don't know if getting all 3 shots will not have people feel like they have the flu or something, because ultimately these shots stimulate your immune system, so it gets your immune system ready that if you get exposed to the real virus, COVID-19, or respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, or the flu, then your body is ready to fight it. But if you only have one opportunity to go to get your shots coming up on the holiday, then certainly, consideration should be given to getting all 3 shots at once. If you can make more than one trip, then perhaps limiting the shots to a COVID shot and a flu shot in either arm, and then coming back to get the RSV shot. We are very much proud of the actions of all West Virginians, though, in continuing to rally to protect themselves and protect each other. And particularly during this holiday season, you don't want to spend it in bed, sick, or spend it worried that you're going to infect somebody who is more susceptible and who might get really sick. So thank you for all of your care. Thank you, Governor, for your leadership. And as always, we hope everybody has a safe and healthy and illness-free holiday and new winter season. Thank you.
Dr. Marsh, I've said it 10,000 times, but boy, what a resource you've been, and what a trooper. Absolutely, we thank you, and thank you from the bottom of our heart. But that's all I've got right now. We'll take your questions.
All right, thanks, Governor. First question today from Charles Young with the WV News. Hi, this is Charles Young from WV News. Governor, I was hoping I'd get you to weigh in on the proposed PEIA changes that are being discussed at these meetings. I was wondering if there's anything you're planning to put forward in the next legislative session that might offset these increases. Thank you.
Charles, I absolutely going to put forward another 5% pay raise. It should more than offset any raises in PEIA, and we need to do that. We need to accomplish that. Excuse me. And without any question, that's what I'm going to do. And so, I hope that that'll just sail right through. And because at the end of the day, we want people to not be hurt by these increases and everything. But, the increases are really and truly are very difficult to avoid. So, but we can offset with pay raises and to where we'll be putting at least as much money in somebody's pocket that the increase is going to cost. And in most all cases, we're putting more money in their pockets. So it's good stuff.
All right, thanks, Charles. Next to Mark Curtis with Nexstar Media.
Good morning, Governor, and everyone else. And Governor, first of all, on behalf of all the military families in this state, including my own, thank you for the kind words about those currently serving my country. I just want to mention this weekend on my show, Inside West Virginia Politics, we're devoting the entire program to Veterans Day. We have 4 military veterans on, including your great Secretary of Veterans Assistance, Ted Diaz, but not the least of which, Captain Allie Curtis, my daughter, will join us from Kosovo, where she's currently deployed. So we invite folks to tune in on all our Nexstar TV stations across the state this weekend. Let me switch subjects and ask you my question. We have the court documents yesterday that there's been a settlement, a partial settlement involving the Southern Regional Jail class action lawsuit on behalf of all the prisoners and inmates in the state jails and prisons. I know you probably can't talk about specifics of the settlement. There are still 12 other defendants out there that have not settled. But I've had the opportunity to talk to many inmates' families, many former inmates. These people realize their loved ones did wrong, committed crimes, and are being punished by being put into the jails and prisons. But they maintain these people still have some rights, and they have the right to good health care and good treatment and edible food and potable water. And so what do you say to the families out there whose loved ones are in what they determine are inhumane conditions, in terms of people are going to be taken care of when they're incarcerated in the state in a humane fashion, in a fair fashion, that is, befitting of the punishment that was meted down to them by the courts?
Mark, first of all, let me just say this, but you be sure and wish Captain Curtis and everything, all of our best wishes and everything, and I be sure and tell Allie that I love her and I really respect and appreciate her service. But with all that being said, Mark, let me just say just this. I have repeatedly, from my standpoint, told our people over and over and over, that I wasn't buying into the fact, and I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. We had people that went and looked and came back and reported and said, all's good in the neighborhood. And really, we had people that purposefully, covered stuff up. And we have tried, and we are still looking, that if we can find others that did exactly that, we'll terminate them. We've already terminated some, and we'll terminate more. With all that being said, Mark, I would just say this, absolutely without any question, these folks have rights, and they absolutely deserve to have their rights in every way. Now, they've probably done some tough stuff, and they've probably made some real mistakes, but that doesn't mean that you absolutely need to live in any kind of inhumane situation at all. Now, absolutely with all in me, Mark, what I have done is I have continued to say, hold on here, hold on. To the families, when they come and they complain about something and everything, and they say something's bad, we go look. Now, from my standpoint, I can't go look at every single thing. But as we go look and everything, and then we're reported back that things are okay and they're not okay, and that doesn't work with me. That doesn't work. So I kept sending them. That's exactly what I did. I kept saying, where there's smoke, there's got to be some fire. And there's absolutely, this doesn't feel right. And I really believe that these folks, that I've talked to, the families and everything, absolutely, I was convinced that we needed to keep looking. And unfortunately, what we found wasn't very pretty. And so with all that being said, we're trying to straighten it up. And so, but I'd like if we could, because he knows a whole lot more about this, from the standpoint of the legality and everything. But Brian Abraham is with us today, and let's let him talk a little bit about this.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Mark, we met with the attorneys that we'd hired from outside on Monday, along with Board of Risk and Insurance Management, and they advised us that given the status of the case, the magistrate judge recommending default judgment, that it was in the best interest of the state to resolve this matter. I would absolutely verify what the governor has said all along. He's indicated to me that he wanted to look into this, that he exactly said to me, where there's smoke, there's fire, we need to be digging into this. So we did that back then. We sent our team down to look into the matters. We got news back that everything was okay. We've since learned that staff at the jail weren't doing the things they needed to do. The governor's instructed me to now conduct another internal investigation regarding any other potential employees that might be implicated in this. We've done that already. It already initiated that. As the governor had indicated, there's been 2 high-level individuals that have lost their employment as a result of this. There may be others coming. There may be some that already left employment with the department. Notwithstanding, we believe we have a good leadership team in place. They have been directly charged by the governor with getting whatever problems are down there corrected and making sure that the prisoners are there, have the treatment they're entitled to. The governor's been adamant about this from the beginning. We have made known to those agencies that that's their responsibility and that there's an expectation by the governor that they perform to standard, and we're going to continue to monitor the situation and make sure that happens. I can't go into any further detail. Our attorneys have also told us not to give out any further detailed information until the judge has actually accepted the settlement agreement between the parties. So we'll have more information later. I'm sure there'll be press releases issued by the agency, but that's something that's going to have to wait till a little later in the week, Mark. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mark. Next, we'll go to Jess Mancini with the Parkersburg News and Sentinel.
Hi, Governor. Hi, everybody. I've got 3 questions, if that's legal here. One, have you been in contact with Donald Trump or his family about perhaps making an appearance for you next year in the Senate campaign? And 2, if the ex-president happens to be convicted of any of the charges against him, would that weigh in your decision to have him come here? And 3, for the transportation secretary, this may be one of those Mark Griswold moments there, but Route 2 north of Parkersburg, the construction there, any idea when that will be completed? Thank you.
Okay, Jeff, let me, it is Jeff, is that correct, Jeff? But let me comment on my 2 things. I don't know how to be more blunt than this, from the standpoint of asking the president, of the United States, which, President Trump was surely president, and the likelihood, in my opinion, is that he will be our next president. That is my hope anyway. With all that being said, from the standpoint of me asking him for his endorsement, I didn't do that. And the reason I didn't do that is I don't think that's my place. I think, naturally, that I would love to have his endorsement. And he has endorsed me, which is great. And we are really close friends, and that is really good and everything. But absolutely, I did not think it was my place to ask a former president of the United States of America to do anything for me. Absolutely, I felt like that in due time, that's what he would do, and that's what he did. We're great friends. And I think absolutely what is going on to him and his family is horrible. Horrible. I mean, absolutely, it is so uncalled for. It is off the chart. And Jeff, I can tell you that if we don't think by what we've seen all over the place that there is some level of corruption in our FBI or Department of Justice or, EPA or whatever it may be, if we don't believe that some people can be really bad actors. Now, as a whole, thank God, as a whole, we should be very, very proud of our DOJ and FBI and EPA because as a whole, unquestionably, they absolutely are led by many, 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 many good folks. But there's times when the leaders of the band can go awry. Judges can go politically awry. What they're putting Donald Trump and his family through is terrible. Gosh, it's just plain terrible. And your other question was, well, what if he's convicted? Would I still want his support? You dadgum right. And would I stand with him arm in arm? You dadgum right. Because I think it is absolutely terrible, and I think the man did a hell of a job. I mean, I was on the phone day after day after day after day with him, right in the middle of the COVID situation, and nobody knew exactly what to do. What did he do? He stood up, and absolutely in a matter of no time, we had a vaccine. What did he do for the businesses? What did he do for the people? I mean, for God's sakes, living in a situation that nobody knew. Nobody knew what to do. There wasn't any playbook. Absolutely, through all the time that he was here. How did our allies respond to him, and how did our adversaries respect him? Look at the accomplishments. Just look at the accomplishments over and over and over. Return money to everybody's pocket. Absolutely, yeah. Jim will stand there. He calls me Big Jim. Absolutely. Now, I may not be able to come running, but absolutely, I would come to his aid and walk very quickly any day I possibly could. I'm very proud of the job he did. He'll be our next president, too, and we'll be better for it. Absolutely, the whole world absolutely will be better for it. Now, I'm going to turn to Jimmy, and let Jimmy, answer the rest of your question, Jeff, but I appreciate you, buddy. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. I don't have the exact completion date for that section, Route 2, that you mentioned, but if you will contact our PR department, they will get with the right folks over there, and they'll send you that completion date.
All right.
Now, you know me well enough to know, that what I would say back to you. I would say what Dad would say over and over about don't confuse effort with accomplishment. But Jimmy, you for me, get back to Jeff yourself. Check on that and get back to Jeff and everything where he gets a clear answer and gets a clear answer as quickly as possible.
We'll.
All right, thanks, Jess. Next to Brad McElhenney with West Virginia Metro News. Brad, you there with us? Yeah.
Question I've ever heard you ask, not only tease and everything.
Yeah, Brad, it looks we're not getting any signal from you, unfortunately.
Can you hear me yet?
Yeah,
Can
now
you
we
hear me
got
yet?
you. Now we got you.
Now?
Yep.
Now?
You're good.
Am I here?
We got you. Go ahead, Brad.
I'm good? Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
Thanks, guys. All right. I'm going to ask for more patience because my question has 3 prongs. Sorry. Might want to get your whiteboard out. Governor, first, your U.S. Senate financial disclosure details several liabilities, but not some big ones. Large sums to Credit Suisse and Carter Bank. Your state ethics disclosure has a box checked for no debts at all. Why would these well-documented liabilities not be reflected on the official disclosures? Second, your Senate disclosure does include liabilities to former senior advisor Bray Cary and his charitable trust, Cary Foundation. Tax filings for the Cary Foundation show outstanding loans by the charity for 2018 to 2020. Were those to you? And when did Bray Cary or his charities first loan you or your company's money? Third, and finally, your 2016 state ethics disclosure listed 7 tranches of corporate and sovereign bonds with EFG, a Swiss bank with branches in the Cayman Islands. That year, 2016, EFG reached a settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice over allegations that the bank had been enabling Americans to evade taxes. In subsequent years, there was no mention of EFG on your state disclosures. What happened? Thank you.
Brad, let me answer them as best I can. I want to answer the last one first. Brad, I don't have a clue about that. From the standpoint of I mean, that's been something that I think is relatively insignificant, and but that's I don't know anything about it, and that's really something that my son has probably done or whatever like that. But like I said, I do not think I'm positive that there's no wrongdoing, but I really don't know any of the other details. In regard to Bray, I can tell you just this. Bray did loan us some money and everything. Bray Cary's a good man. There was never any favors or anything like that done. Bray Cary did great work when he was in this office. We should be very thankful for what he did and everything. He's a great friend and everything, and he'll be paid back in full, absolutely without any question. But the primary thing is just this: we should be thankful for all the great work that Bray did. There's no favors whatsoever that were given to Bray Cary in any way for any consideration of what he did with us. And on the official disclosure and stuff like that, maybe Brian, you can answer a little bit of that better than I. But and I don't really remember exactly what the question was about the official disclosure stuff. Brian, do you have that?
Yes, Brad. The governor's team put together the federal disclosure, and I didn't have much involvement in that, but I can tell you I believe the discrepancy that you're trying to point out between the two forms is the debts listed on the state ethics form that are filed are personal debts to others, excluding commercial debts. So some of those you've referred to that might be more extensively included within the federal filings would not have been necessary in the state forms.
All right, thanks, Brad. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, I would like to comment just real quick on just this, and Brad, I appreciate your interest, and I think it's legit that people ask and everything about what's going on, in Jim's neighborhood and all that kind of stuff. But I would tell you just this. Jim's neighborhood will be fine. It's always been fine. Jim's neighborhood employs thousands of people and everything. And Jim has very, very, very little to do with it because, for God's sakes, a living, you see me all the time. You see me all the time in what I'm doing and everything. From my standpoint, first and foremost, I'm trying to take care of all of our house in West Virginia. From the standpoint of Jim's house, it'll be fine. You can worry about it and you can jump up and down about it and everything else. But really and truly, Jim's house will be fine. You know, what we absolutely should always be concerned about here, and that's what we're going to do. You know, that is exactly what I'm going to do. And that is, we should be concerned about everybody's house that's here. And that's our job. You know, at the end of the day, we can come up with something and say, well, you know, this asset has this much debt and everything else, when truly, you know, it may very well have. And the numbers are enormous. And absolutely the complications because of not doing what a lot of coal companies just did, you know, when things got tough, they bailed and wrote off billions and billions and billions of dollars. I didn't do that. And this is way before the governorship, but I didn't do that, you know, because I didn't want all these people to be stiffed. And that's absolutely where I stood. It's made it tougher. But you need to quit worrying about Jim stuff. Let's worry about what we're supposed to worry about. And that is the people stuff, the people of West Virginia. And so with all that being said, the only other thing I would say is just this. You know, and this is back to Jeff, just a second. But, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but it is absolutely the truth. You know, President Trump is a tough guy. And in that tough guy deal, he doesn't want to show you just how much he really cares. But absolutely don't think for a second that all these people that are beating on President Trump, that it doesn't hurt. It hurts. It hurts that whole family in many ways, just like it would hurt your family. And don't think that he likes just sitting there in a courtroom and everything, you know, volleying back and forth to a judge that is absolutely, I mean, he didn't even, you know, he had decided tenfold, you know, that he was dead against Trump in every way before Trump ever walked in his courtroom. He's not going to listen to reason. He's not going to listen to fact. He's not going to listen to logic. You know, we all know that. And the law compels President Trump to come, which is ridiculous beyond belief. But absolutely don't think for a second that he's not hurting or his family's not hurting, because they are. And don't think for a second that he doesn't care about you. Every single one of us, he does. And because I know it. If you believe in me, you've got to listen to me, because absolutely he needs your prayers, and absolutely this nation needs our prayers. So in every way, just think about what I'm telling you, because I'm telling you straight stuff. I'm absolutely telling you good stuff. So God bless each and every one of you. And be careful about all those forest fires, because they can be bad too. Anyway, thank you so much.